improv stick figure storyboard. That's what I think I'll do after I do the exercises, and then because essentially, the reason I'm doing all of this is, I think the end goal is for me to be able to do animation. But from what I've been looking into is, you should have a strong understanding of like anatomy and being able to draw that. So the number one thing that I have that I know is like I draw like this. So doing this is going to prevent this. So usually like it's well, see, like I just practiced this. So like drawing a straight line. See, like, so I usually draw like this. See how that's drawing from the wrist. When I can do this, one line, one curve, right, from the shoulder. Just one from the shoulder, and eventually, see, like, this one was actually kind of even pretty good. Drawing from the shoulder rather than the wrist, right? Like, the wrist is this, the elbow is this, and then the shoulder's this. Like, I can, like, I feel like when I'm drawing with from the shoulder too, like, I can do lighter lines. That's because there's a lot more of my arm weight on my shoulder, and I'm a bigger guy too, so like my arms are bigger, so like I tend to want to rest my hands. But this is supposed to stop the it's kind of like unsure lines, because you're not sure. This is actually fingered, a finger circle. Actually, I guess that's wrist. This would be finger, which is super awkward. Okay, let's get back to this. From the shoulder, I gotta sit up. I'm gonna scoot this over some. I mean, essentially, I'd like to move to doing digital, but that'll happen once I get my new computer. I have pretty much all the money. I got half of it in the bank, and then some of it out that I let some family borrow. I let them borrow it because they needed it for the moment, and then they and that way I wouldn't spend it. So it's just I got to get that from them, and then. But I'm in no rush because I want to get the new Intel chips CPU, and this i7s are extremely expensive. Like, you're supposed to be able to buy them for around $330 and $350, but they're up to 400, 420, sometimes even 450, since they were just kind of they had a shortage, I think, but now I think that they're starting to get back in and the prices are dropping, and but I think people were kind of impatient, so they're still buying them. So I'll probably wait. I'm thinking the end of February is when it's going to happen, but I don't want to keep waiting on streaming. So I'm going to work on trying to do at least these, and maybe a couple other things on stream. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. was thinking a lot there. 6, 7, 8. Whoa, slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So ideally I want to be streaming 4 hours Monday through Friday, and that's a total of 4 hours. I don't know how many times I'll have to stream a day to do that. Most of it will have to be earlier in the day, probably earlier than I even started today. And that's, so the idea is, let's see, the idea is, I'm taking a break from that for a second. So if I do 4 hours of drawing a day, let's use this. Actually, I'll even pull this out. Let's see, I don't want to show everybody everything. So, okay. So the idea here is I want to stream 4 hours. I'd honestly like to do 8, but that's just not doable right now. 4 hours a day of drawing. Now, this is digital or traditional, because once I get my computer set up, then I'll probably be doing more digital, maybe half and half. So 4 hours a day of drawing. Oops. And then, so that's 20 hours a week. 20 hours a week of drawing, which will be 80 hours a month of drawing. The focus, right? The focus. The focus. So that'll be 80 hours a month. So there's 12 months, so you multiply that by 12, right? So that's 0, that's 16, that's, this is 0, that's 8, it's 960 hours, right? So 960 hours a month. 60 hours, a year. 60 hours a year of drawing. This will actually be more, but this will just be on stream. On stream. Yeah, let's change that to on stream, right? Because sometimes I draw in the car, not when I'm driving or anything, but like if I'm sitting, waiting. I've been trying to carry around a little, that's the ideal one, but a little thing with this, and it's just like I'll draw the environment I am, or draw just whatever, just kind of whatever ideas in my head at the time. So 960 hours of drawing a year. This is like purposeful drawing, I guess is what I should say. Purposeful drawing, which is to learn. And then, so 960 hours a year. And if you do that times 5, because you want to do it for 5 years, well, it's just, for an example, you want to do it for 5 years. It's 4,700 hours of drawing in 5 years. So what this is not enough. But if you do that for 10 years, right, that's going to be 9,400 hours of drawing in 10 years. So what you want to hit is the 10,000 hour mark. So I may even, so this 4 hours of streaming is, the idea is that I will be doing actually drawing every day. So that's 28 hours a week. Because even on the days that I might not stream it, but I'll be drawing on the weekends. So that'll be 56, was it 112 a month. And then, just because I don't want to, 1, 2, this is 4, 4, 3, 1, 13, and then you want to times that by, because you want 10,000 hours means you're an expert. And a lot of times when you apply for a job, they're like, they want 5 years. They want you to have like 5 years of experience, or like 2 and 3 of something. So like 5 years experience, right? And then, so this is still not enough, right? So 10,000 hours over. So how do you get 10,000 hours if you want to do it in 5 years? You work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, or 40 hours a week, which is 8 hours a day. So that's 160 times 12 months, hours in a month, worked. $19.20. So you take that, you multiply that by 5. 0, 10, 45, 46, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9,600 hours in 5 years. 9,600 hours in 5 years. That's why they say they want at least 5 years experience, because it's close. This is close to being an expert. So this is what considers you an expert at whatever you're doing. So the idea is that you're like, wow, how am I going to do like 8 hours of drawing and work? And well, I don't work. I've been lucky that I don't have to work. So I do want to work. Actually, I do. I want a job that's just a minuscule, medial, basically just something that's just task, like very low mental capacity, because like Albert Einstein, he worked in the patent office, and he basically was like the same thing over and over every day. So he spent a lot of time like looking out the window